One second. Okay. So, happy Tuesday, you guys. Jenny's a fellow Texan. We love our Texans. We love everybody. But thought that was a little bit of fun. Maybe we can get our boots on and do some dancing in Paris. Is anybody going to Paris gonna take their cowboy boots? I'm not, but so we are so fortunate today, you guys, to have one of our amazing national directors from Park Lane joining us to share her leadership tips. Jennifer Bond, who you guys see there, who is just absolutely beautiful. She is as beautiful inside as she is out. To tell you a little bit about her role, and Jennifer, you might be able to share a little bit more, but she has been in this business, in the industry. Actually, Jennifer, unmute yourself. How many years have you been in the industry?
Coming up on 25.
25 years. Okay. So full of knowledge. Been with Park Lane now, what, 15, 13?
15. Yeah, coming up on 15 years in Park Lane.
15 years in Park Lane. And one of the neatest things about Park Lane, you guys, is nobody that works in the field or as a home office directive, who does training, who does connection, no one has not been in the field. Okay. It is one of the things that I truly, truly admire about this company is that they want to make sure that anybody that's put in contact with our field, that is connecting with other people for our direct to point program, knows what Park Lane is about. And that is very unique. It's very special. And so Jennifer is one of those amazing women within Park Lane. So today, Allie and I invite her. Allie's not here. Allie is actually prepping for our mega party. Is everybody ready for the mega party? Yay! She is with Maria Rivero today, and they are prepping for the mega party. So we're very, very grateful that she's spending her time doing that today, especially after Facebook wanted to crash on us this morning. So, we were like preparing to pivot, but we had invited Jennifer to come and share some of her top leadership tips. We've had lots of content shared in this group, and so grateful for all that has been shared. But we thought, you know what, a woman of 25 years kind of has one or two things that we can learn from. So Jennifer, welcome.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here with all of y'all today. And I had not heard that Beyonce's new song yet. I've heard a lot about it, but I was excited to hear it. So I will listen to it some more. I am absolutely thrilled to be here with all of y'all today. And it is so fun for me. I'm looking at the faces and I'm looking at the names, and I know some of the faces here. Of course, I know Sarah Catherine and Kim and Sweet Lupita, and I know so many of your names. And so it's really, really fun for me to be in this virtual space with you, to be able to get to know y'all. Just curious, real quick, who is joining us in Paris next week? It's next week. Who's joining us? Throw it in the chat here. If you are joining us, just put Paris in the chat if you're going to be joining us in Paris. Yay! Okay, well, I know that each and every one of you is definitely going to be joining us in St. Thomas next year, and that will be a spectacular trip. I will tell you, it is one of my favorite locations. My husband Jeff and I, it is one of our favorite trip locations that we've ever been on in our 15 years with Park Lane, and the resort that we are staying at is spectacular. It is also, if you hadn't heard, a favorite of the Levine family. So that's a good thing, because we know that the Levines like fun places to go and amazing places to go.
And
So
Jennifer, not to interrupt you, but I do have
yes, go.
to. It is literally one of my favorite places. We've taken our kids since I think Anna's now 17. I think she was a year and a half the first time we took her. And it is that St. Thomas and St. John, which is right there next to each other, and you can take a quick ferry across. That whole area is one of our favorite areas. So when they announced it, I was like, yay! So
Yeah. It will be fantastic. And I think especially after 2 back-to-back European trips, which first of all, y'all, what company does 2 back-to-back European trips? Craziness. So we are just so, so blessed. And I know each and every one of you as leaders feel super blessed. I want to get an idea. I want to see, I'm really curious. I know a lot of the names and I, of course, know a lot of the faces and putting all of those together. But before we jump into the training that I'm going to share with y'all today, I want to get an idea of who is on the call though. So really quickly, so I know in terms of levels, if you would drop in the chat for me, if you are an area leader, if you're a division, if you're a senior division, a sales VP, I want to get an idea of who is on the call. Okay, direct to point, area leader, area, division, lots of divisions. I see here, oh, this is great. Division is one of my favorite levels in Park Lane. Senior division, direct to point, awesome. Lots of direct to points too. Senior division. Okay, we have a mixed bag. Okay, well, let me ask you this. Who is ready to take their leadership to the next level in 2024? Throw a 1 in the chat if you're ready to take your leadership to the next level in 2024. I love it. So let me ask you a question though, and you don't have to answer this in the chat. Do you sometimes wonder though how you're going to do that and what the strategy looks like for that? You know, I think a lot of times as leaders, we think about, oh, I have these big goals and I have these dreams, but I don't know how I'm going to do that. Well, today, that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about how to look at your 2024 and to take your leadership to the next level, but also give you a strategy and a focus on how you can do that. So I have 3 things that I want to accomplish today. The first thing is I want to get you to think a little bit differently about leadership than maybe you've looked at in the past. The second thing is I want to give you a simple strategy, a simple focus for how you can
Speaking of the necklace,
your time as a leader. And then the third thing is
where the
I
echoes?
want to give you, hey, Allie. The third thing is I want to give you some simple success tips that I have found over certainly my 15 years in Park Lane, but definitely my almost 25 years in the business that have been really, really helpful to be able to really step into that leadership role and step into your vision of what it looks like to be a leader for you in Park Lane. So here's the thing is, one of the things that is so important when we're talking about leadership, and especially when we're talking about taking our leadership and all that that embodies to the next level, the most important thing that we need to begin with though is commitment. Commitment, like who hears that word and that excites you? And then who hears that word and that kind of scares you too? I think kind of both, you know, it's a dual thing there. So let me ask you a question. How would you define commitment to your business, to being a leader, to your organization, to your team? Well, I'm going to give you the Webster's version, a definition of commitment so that we have a starting spot. Okay, I see a couple of people are putting here consistency, showing up. I love it. I love those right there. Well, Webster says that commitment is the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause, an activity, or something else. So the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause, activity, or something else. Here's my favorite definition of commitment when it comes to our business. And it's actually a quote from Ken Blanchard. And anybody who has done any personal development or leadership reading, you definitely have probably come across Ken Blanchard. But here's what he says. There's a difference between interest and commitment. When you're interested in something, you do it only when it's convenient. When you're committed to something, you accept no excuses, only results. I love that definition of commitment because I think that is so true for us in our business on a daily business. You know, we have to be committed to our business. We have to be committed to our team, to our leadership. And sometimes it doesn't feel great on a daily basis, or sometimes we have those crazy weeks, or sometimes we have a day like today where Facebook decides on the day of a mega party to lose its mind. But these are things that we have to stay committed, and these are the things that we have to focus on. So here's the thing is, there are actually several different levels of commitment when it comes to your leadership. Okay, there's 5 different pillars of leadership when it comes to committing to your leadership. So that's what I want to do is I want to talk about these different pillars of commitment. Okay, the first one, and this truly is the most important one, but I'm going to tell you it's the one that most people miss, and that is committing to your vision of your business, of what you want your Park Lane business, what you want your Park Lane empire to look like. Here's the deal. Do you have a vision for your business? That's what I want to ask you first. You know, it's so important that we have a vision for a business. And I think a lot of times people start thinking about all the things that we think about as leaders, right? You start thinking about things like the mega show, and you start thinking about making sure that you have, the right amount of guests in the party. You think about, do you have, the right amount of hostesses on your calendar? You start thinking about, oh, do I have a certain amount of points towards my trip? You start thinking about all these things, and sometimes you haven't even clearly defined what your vision is for yourself. So my question is, do you have a vision for your business for 2024? Did you start the year with a vision for what your 2024 was going to look like in Park Lane? Drop a 1 in the chat for me if you started your year with a vision for your business this year. I want to see if anybody has. Now, let me ask you a question now. Did you start your year with a vision for your business and what you wanted it to look like for you? And you wrote it out? A lot of times we have these dreams, we have these goals, and we've set these goals and these dreams in our head of what we want it to look like. We think, okay, you know what? I am a division leader and I want to promote to senior division this year. And I'd really love to earn 2 trips. I'd like to earn both trips this year, and I want to earn it for 2 trips for each one. And oh, maybe, you know what? I want to be in Platinum Club. I want to be one of those Platinum Club achievers. But you haven't actually taken the time to write it out and to clearly define what that looks like for you. Maybe it's you have a certain income goal. Maybe your vision for the year is, you know what, I want to pay off a certain amount of credit card debt, or I want to be able to take X amount of dollars and put it towards some special project or some special thing that you want to work towards. But my question is, have you actually written out what your vision is? Because here's the thing is, commitment to your vision starts also with clearly defining it and writing it out for yourself. When we think about leadership and we think about next level leadership, if you want to think about it this way, you think about some of the great leaders that we've had, not only in our company and our industry, but also outside in the world. When you think about people, even, who have been leaders in the world over the decades, over the centuries, every single one of those great leaders started with a vision, right? They clearly defined what that vision was that they wanted. They certainly had written it out. And then they started aligning their actions. They started aligning what it is they were doing to help support that vision, right? So my challenge to you is to really start your year by focusing on that first pillar. And when I say start your year, y'all, we are starting March. But I will tell you, I don't know about you, especially with the weather and the way that it's been so crazy around the United States over the last couple of months. And I think sometimes people sort of have a holiday hangover. And I don't mean from alcohol. I mean, like they have the holiday hangover of like you did all the things in the holidays and you're just exhausted. Doesn't it feel like that sometimes? And now it feels like with spring starting to come, I see lots of nods here. Spring starting to come. It certainly feels like that in Texas. Christy and Sarah Catherine can definitely attest to that. It's gorgeous outside right now in Texas. And all of a sudden you start thinking like, wait a minute, I'm thinking about my vision. I'm thinking about my goals for the year now. So one of the things is, as you start the year for yourself, as you start this season, or as we start to really get the momentum for the season, it's really important that you go ahead and clearly define what that is for you. So my challenge to you is to take a little bit of time right now and to think about what your vision is for yourself for 2024 and beyond. Okay. So that's our first pillar. I want to invite you to be a vision-driven leader. Okay. Because vision-driven leaders are the ones that create magic. That is where the magic happens. So I want to invite you, like I said, I want you to be a vision-driven leader. I love this quote that I read recently, and I was reading a book in the last year by an amazing person who talks about vision, a very top business leader, Michael Hyatt. Some of you have probably read some of his work. And Michael Hyatt says in his book, The Vision Driven Leader, he says, vision is what drives you where you're going and keeps you from driving around in circles. Okay. Don't we feel like that sometimes? I was sharing with some leaders last week that, sometimes as leaders, don't we feel like we're playing whack-a-mole? Okay, we're hitting this thing. We got this contest, and okay, we got the mega show over here. And oh, wait, we got a promotion. Oh, wait, somebody's almost going to hit, trip for one here. Okay. Oh, I got to focus. I have no bookings all of a sudden. And you're like hitting all these moles here, and you're just driving around in circles. But when you start with your vision, it helps you to figure out what your priorities are. It helps you to stay focused on what you want to create for the year. So here's my success tip with this. One way for you to help stay focused, to stay aligned with what you are creating for yourself, the vision that you have, is to keep a business journal. Drop in the chat here real quick if you have ever kept, or if you keep a business journal. Just throw, in the chat there for me. If you've ever had a business journal, a lot of times people might have their own devotional that they do in the morning, which is great. They might have a devotional journal that they write in. Maybe you have a personal journal. A lot of times people as leaders, they don't keep a business journal. A business journal is really, really informative. It is really, really powerful. So I want to invite you to today or this week, hop on Amazon, get yourself a pretty journal that you want to keep for yourself, that you're going to use exclusively for your business. And in this journal, a great first prompt for you, a great first thing for you to write down is to write down, what is my vision for my business and my organization, my team in 2024? Write it out in detail, all the little details, even down to what do you want the type of women or men to be on your team? Do you want to have, a really strong, powerful, inclusive, inspiring team? Do you want to have a collaborative, classy, engaging, vibrant team? What does it look like for you? Define exactly what you want to have, what the vision of your team looks like. And that is your first pillar. That's really, really going to help you to start aligning what it is that you're focused on for the year. So our second pillar, though, is commitment to your personal development and your growth. Okay. Here's what I love. I know that every single person who's on this call right now and everybody who watches the replay of this, I know that you have some level of commitment to personal development and growth because you're here on this training call, right? Christy and Allie put out great leader training calls every single week. Y'all are so blessed because there are hundreds of years of experience and leadership on these calls. That's one of the things that I love so much about Park Lane is that through our Direct to Point program, and I know that many of you have come through our Direct to Point program, we have something so unique and so special in Park Lane in the fact that we have collectively in the company thousands of years of leadership experience here at Park Lane. There is no other company that I can think of in the direct sales and network marketing space that has this. It is because we have this amazing direct to point program. But these calls are such a great, great focus for you to make sacred for you to be on these calls. So it will help you to commit to your personal growth, into your leadership. One of the things that I see as a pitfall a lot of times with leaders, especially emerging leaders on our teams, and sometimes we can even be that emerging leader, is that sometimes we are growing so fast that we're not keeping up our leadership skills and our personal development and keeping that in line with where our team is growing. Does that make sense to you? What we're doing is our team is exploding. All these amazing things are happening, but we are not keeping up with our leadership skills. And there's a couple of ways that you can do this. The first thing is to be curious. to be open and curious to learning new things, to getting better, to improving, to doing things that are stepping outside your comfort zone, to doing things that are going to feel a little bit uncomfortable for you. But that's where the growth happens. And really, truly, personal development and personal growth is one of the most powerful and impactful ways for you to be able to become a next level leader in 2024 and beyond. One of the things that I really love about personal development and personal growth, and that can be the things that you're reading, the podcasts that you're listening to, the training calls that you're getting on, making sure that you're registering, you're attending every session with Sparkle, making sure that you are getting on whatever your other team meetings are. One of the things that I love is every single skill, every single new tip, new strategy, everything that you learn on those, nobody can take away from you. Okay. When you learn something new because you decide to pick up a new leadership development book, or you decide to listen to a new podcast that's going to help you with your business, or maybe some other area of your personal journey, of your personal growth, nobody can take that away from you. It doesn't matter. It's like it has this accumulative effect. And the cool thing is, it actually spills over into other areas as well. Real quick, y'all, give me just a raise of hands. Who here has kids? Who here is raising kids? Okay, so almost everybody. Okay. The cool thing about this too is the more that you personally develop yourself, not only does it spill over into other areas in your life, not just your business, and it positively impacts that, it models really great behavior for your kids as well. It is very, very powerful for your kids. And trust me, I will tell you, trust me, your kids are watching every single thing that you do. Okay. And they may not be listening, or it doesn't seem like they're listening and hearing what you're saying, but they are listening to everything and they're watching everything that you do. So all of your commitment to your personal development and to growing and to honestly doing things, like I said, that are outside your comfort zone and learning those new skills to help you grow as a leader and help you to step up into the leader that you want to become, it's spilling over into those other areas, but your kids are definitely getting the impact of it as well. So in your business journal, one of the things that I want to tell you to do is to also start keeping track for yourself of where you are committed to your personal growth, to your personal development. What is it that you're doing? You know, one of the things that I think is really cool too is that I know that this team also, I know that within the Treasure Tribe as a whole, that there is a big focus, that there is a value put on personal development and growth. I mean, and your leaders, your top leadership, they put their money where their mouth is with that. And it is very, very impactful. So again, when you have those opportunities, take advantage of those opportunities. A lot of leaders, a lot of teams don't do that, and a lot of teams don't have that. Okay. So make sure you're taking advantage of that. Okay, the third pillar of commitment to being a next level leader is commitment to your personal business, your sales, your personal sales. You know, as leaders, you make incredible commissions on your personal sales. Area leaders and above, I'm seeing it. I mean, Lupita's nodding her head. Yeah, I mean, y'all, 40 to 50% personal commission. You know, Kathy Cassidy and I on a weekly, if not daily basis, interview leaders from all different companies out there, y'all. You guys, we pay more than anybody else. Even if the other companies are saying that they're making 50%, it's not a pure 50%, okay? Their take home, even if they're saying they're making 50%, is more like in the 17 to 19%. If they're really lucky, maybe 22%, okay? It is much, much, much lower. We are so blessed that we have such a high personal commission that we're making. So I think it's really important to pay attention to where our co-founder and where our home office is telling you to put your time, okay? And what I mean by that is Park Lane is telling you with our compensation plan, they're telling you where to put your time. Do you guys realize that? They are telling you where. I often say use the comp plan as your roadmap. Okay. When you pull open your comp plan, and this is just area and division, look at where you're being paid. Park Lane is telling you to make sure that you weight your personal business appropriately, because weekly shows creates momentum. Weekly shows creates weekly paychecks that are going to be significant. Weekly shows leads you to more recruits. Weekly shows leads you to more experienced leaders that you can recommend. Weekly shows helps you to earn the trip, the contests, and it also helps you to walk the walk. So use our compensation plan as your roadmap. Now, here's the pitfall of leadership. I think a lot of times as leaders, we get very, very caught up, like I said, in the things, right? We get caught up in all the things that we got to do. And then all of a sudden, we look at our calendar and we go, holy smokes, what just happened? I have nothing but a bunch of blank dates here in my calendar. So there's a couple of things that I want to recommend, I want to invite you to do as leaders, is when you're committing to your personal business, you have to set a goal for yourself of what is a non-negotiable goal for yourself every single month when it comes to your personal business. You have to establish a booking goal. So that's the first thing, is establish a booking goal for yourself. Set a goal each month and then just stick to it. What does that look like for you? Does that look like 1 show a week? Does that look like 2 shows a week? Does that look like 3 shows a week? What does that look like for you? I can't answer that. Christy can't answer that. Allie can't answer that. That's a personal goal you need to set for yourself, but establish your own personal booking goal. Now, when you do that, I also recommend book 1 more. This is insurance. We all know things shift, they change. Always book 1 more, okay? You always want to have a little bit of extra. It's sort of like, I don't know, for those of y'all who like to entertain, I know Christy likes to entertain and Allie likes to entertain. You know, for me, like if I know that I have 12 people coming for dinner, I set 13 spots. Okay. If I know that I'm going to have 20 people for Easter, I'm not going to have exactly the right amount of food exactly, you know, for 20 people. I always make sure I have a little bit of extra, right? You pad the number a little bit. Same thing with your booking goal. The other thing is a safeguard for yourself, a strategy for yourself is to set a booking deadline for yourself. And what I mean by that is choose 1 week each month that you're going to look at your calendar and you're going to assess your bookings. And then you're going to schedule time to make sure that you've hit your booking goal. So let's say your booking goal was, I want to do 6 shows a month. What is the week for you that you're going to look at? Is it going to be the first week of the month? Or is it going to be the last week of the month going into the next month? And you're going to look at your calendar and you're going to go, okay, wait a minute. I want to have 6 shows. I only have currently 4 shows on my books for next month. Don't think that those bookings, of course, you're going to get bookings from those bookings, but don't rely on that. What happens if that booking moves out? Okay. Look at your calendar though, set that week for yourself, that booking deadline, and you're going to look at it and go, okay, I have 4 out of 6 bookings. I need 2 more bookings. I have 2 bookings to go to hit my booking goal, and then schedule the time to make those calls. A really great time to do that is the power hours. You know, this is a great time. So put it in your calendar. You are going to hear me say over and over and over again, and you will always hear me say this, use your calendar or your planner. It is so important. It is almost like a journal. I saw somebody throw in the chat at one point too, you know, yes, a planner and a journal, so important. Use your planner as a journal. And then of course you have your business journal as well. So make sure that you are committed to your personal business. Again, use the comp plan is your roadmap. Park Lane is telling you, we are literally giving you a business plan of where to spend your time. Okay, the 4th pillar of commitment is going to be your commitment to what I like to call blessing others. And that's going to be your recruiting or your sponsoring. You know, we all know that as leaders, recruiting or sponsoring or blessing others with the gift of this business is an incredibly powerful, impactful, really, really cool part of our jobs. I want you all to think about this for just a second. You have, as a leader, on a daily basis, the power, the God-given power to change the trajectory of somebody's life. Somebody did it for you. Somebody did it for me. Somebody did it for Christy. When I think about the person that brought me into the direct sales business, into a business that I had absolutely no knowledge of, I thought it was that thing that people pass around plastic dishes, or they put on some makeup in those pink little containers. Like, that wasn't for me, though. I had no understanding of the direct sales business. But somebody offered this blessing to me, and I know for a fact, what I do know to be true is that it quite literally changed the trajectory of not just my life, but my family's life. And the same thing has happened for each of one of you. You have that power on a daily basis, and I don't consider it personally even just this impact, this power that we have. I actually consider it a sacred responsibility that we all have to be able to bless others and to share others with this business. So as leaders, it's so important that we are staying focused on that as a part of our job. And it's very, very easy for us sometimes to get off track, especially when you start to have some explosive growth for a while. It's easy to just stay focused on, oh, the growth is so amazing, and you're not paying attention to making sure that you're continuing that momentum. We've all heard the old adage, it is addition versus multiplication. When you are growing a team, that is multiplication. We like working in multiplication, not in addition. Okay. But one of the biggest mistakes that I see that leaders make sometimes, it's one of the pitfalls of leadership, is that, again, we get so focused on all the things. We're hitting that whack-a-mole. We're hitting all those, things that are coming up on a daily basis and on a weekly basis, is that we're not paying attention to our recruiting numbers. So again, new is where the magic happens, and we have this amazing sacred responsibility to be able to share with others. It's a part of our job as leaders. And again, the comp plan, if you look at it, your personal business, you're making 40 to 50% compensation. What are you making as an area leader? Area leaders, nobody else answer, only area leaders. Can you tell me right now, real quick, off the top of your head, how much are you making on your first level on your fashion directors? What's your percentage? 10%. Good job. Okay, so 10% is a division leader in hiring, making 15%. Okay, so again, Arthur Sr. was brilliant. He's telling us exactly where to focus our time, right? So we know that we have to continue to be personally recruiting. We all know the old adage too, a third, a third, a third. And, we know that a third is coming, a third is working, and a third is going. And so often it's unfortunate, but we don't even realize the third that's going. So we always have to make sure our recruiting job never ends. We always have to make sure that we're bringing in that third. So my success tip for this is to not only have your booking goal each month, but to have a recruiting goal. Raise your hand real quick if you have a recruiting goal every single month for yourself. Okay. I have like half hands and some, I'm not sure. I'm going to raise my hand, maybe because I should be raising my hand. It's okay. Here's the deal is knowledge is power. And with awareness comes choice. And once you know, then you can decide if you want to make a different change, if you want to make a different choice for yourself. So here's the thing is set a recruiting goal for yourself. Write these goals in your planner. At the top of your planner, is it that I want to personally sell $5,000 this month or $10,000 this month, and I want to sponsor personally 2 recruits? Or I want to do 10 and 3, or whatever that looks like for you. Again, you get to decide. You get to decide. The other thing is, it's really important to make sure that you are walking your talk. I can tell you, I know how easy it is as a leader. I remember when I was a leader in Park Lane on the field side entirely. And I remember being a new leader in Park Lane and doing all the things and getting caught up if we were doing, this is when everything was in person, and we were doing weekly opportunity meetings, and we were doing, weekly initial training classes, new stylist trainings, all in person. I was doing my shows and all the things. And I realized all of a sudden, like, when was the last time you had somebody at the opportunity event? I was doing all the things, we're doing all the things as a leader that we're not actually getting people there. So again, sometimes it's hard as a leader because you are organizing or you're doing all the things. But what I want to tell you is it's so important because your team is watching you. We all know this. As the leader goes, you have to walk your talk. So one of the things that's super important is to make sure that you are getting people on the opportunity calls that you have within the team, that you are consistently using either the 7-minute company video that we have and sending it to every single hostess or key customers that you want to work with or key prospects. Or if there's another one that y'all have independently that you can share, do that as well. And are you sending experienced leads to a national director consistently too? Are you doing that? It's really important to make sure that you're walking your talk. The other thing is again, you're going to hear me keep saying this, using the comp plan as your roadmap and looking at, okay, how many people are fashion directors that I have that are coming in? How many people do I have that are then moving to branch? That would be the next level that you would be looking at. There's a reason why we have our Platinum Club contest right now, that we have that elite level of leadership. It is the company again telling you how incredibly important that is. So look at your compensation plan and look at how you are maximizing that right there. Now, I want to share another little tip with you that's a really helpful thing. If you ever feel like you're getting stagnant with your recruiting or with your development of your team, and that is this concept of what we call act as if. And acting as if is simply acting as if you are the person, the role that you are getting ready to step into, okay? And so let's say, for example, you are an area leader and you want to promote to division leader. What does it look like for you to act as if you are a division leader? Okay. What kind of volume do you need to do? What kind of skills do you need to have? How do you want to walk? How do you want to talk? How would you post on social media? How do you respond to other people? How do you respond to team members? So that this success principle of really acting as if you are the person that you want to become can be really, really, really powerful. And one of the things that I like to challenge leaders to do sometimes is to do what I like to call an act as if challenge. And that is that you actually go back and you act as if you are that stylist who is promoting to branch director. And then after they go to branch, promoting to area leader. And then after area, going to division. And so what that means is that you as a leader, so like I will just use Sarah Catherine as an example. Sarah Catherine's a senior division leader. If Sarah Catherine was acting as if she was promoting to branch, then in the month of March, she would say, okay, I am going to have one personal recruit and I'm going to make sure that I have one personal qualified recruit and I'm going to make sure that I have $1,000 in personal sales. In fact, you know what? I'm going to act as if, and I'm going to do that this week. I'm going to do this in, the first or the second or whatever week it is in the month of March. And you're going to act as if you were promoting to branch director. Then once she's done that, she's going to act as if she's promoting to area leader. So then she's going to say, okay, now I'm going to spend the rest of the month and I'm going to focus on making sure that for the rest of the month, we have at least $5,000 in sales and we have 3 new teammates. At least one of those has to be personal because those are the qualifications we all know to be able to move to area leader. So she's acting as if she's a branch. She's acting as if she is an area leader and she's taking herself through the comp plan. So if you ever get stagnant in your business, this is one of those things that I will share with leaders to do, to act as if and take yourself through the comp plan. Does 2 things. It's a really, really cool exercise. Because the first thing that it does is it helps you to build really, really strong, and it'll help you to also build your central group. It'll help you to build really focus on the comp plan and maximize the comp plan, okay? So it's gonna help you to create a lot of momentum. It's gonna help you to actually create some more branches by default as well. So it does a lot of these really cool things. The second thing I love is that it helps you to learn the comp plan, okay? It helps you to learn the comp plan because so many of us came into Park Lane through the direct appointment program, right? So if you started as a division leader, if you started as a senior division leader, can you rattle off the top of your head what it takes to? Branch is pretty easy, so I'll give you that. Can you rattle off the top of your head what it takes to go to area leader though? Like, do you know like that, like what it takes? Do you know like that, what it takes to go to division, senior division? So it's a really, really powerful thing because especially if you, like I said, have come through the direct appoint program, it does two things at once. So acting as if, doing an act as if challenge is really, really, really helpful. And then the fifth pillar of commitment is committing to being a great leader. And what I mean by that is a couple of things is, are you leading your team or is your team leading you? You can ask yourself that question. Are you leading your team? Are you setting the tone or is the team leading you? I like to use the metaphor of either being a thermometer or being a thermostat. Some of you may have heard this before. And what I want to ask you is, are you a thermostat or are you a thermometer? I want you to think about it this way. These are two different devices, right? We all know what a thermometer is. The thermometer is that thing that, we got a sick kiddo, we pull out the thermometer, there feels like they're running a little bit of temperature, we pull it out, and what does the thermometer do? A thermometer simply measures the temperature, right? It doesn't change the temperature. I can't change if my kid has, 102 fever. All it does is it measures, it gives me information. That's all it's doing. A thermostat, though, regulates the temperature, right? Gets a little bit too warm, we go over the thermostat, we cool it down a little bit. It's a little bit too chilly, we go to the thermostat and we raise it. We can adjust, we can make adjustments as a thermostat. So what I want to ask you is, as a leader, are you leading your team or is your team leading you? And are you being a thermostat or are you being a thermometer? It's two very different ways to be a thermostat as a leader. And hopefully you can see that I'm saying you want to be a thermostat. You don't want to be a thermometer. As a thermostat, you get to do this two different ways. Number one, you get to create the tone. You get to set the temperature for what you're going to do as a team. Okay. Again, this ties back to your vision for the team. But when you are setting the thermostat, you are setting the tone. You are saying, you know what, on our team in March or in April or every month, it is non-negotiable. This is what we do. We do X amount of events or trainings. This is what we do. We do this kind of volume. This is the type of team that we are. What is the vision of the team that you have? And are you setting that thermostat for yourself? Or are you just going at the end of the month, well, we didn't have any promotions again this month. We didn't have any branch promotions. Yeah, I know. I missed my bonus this month. Yeah, I missed my bonus by like $125. That is being a thermometer. You're just taking the temperature. A thermostat is setting you know what? We are doing $10,000 as a division leader, and we are doing $10,000 at a minimum in monthly sales so that I am hitting that bonus. So think about if you were being a thermostat or you're being a thermometer with your team. Now, here's the other thing is, being a thermostat with your team also means setting the tone when you're dealing with interpersonal issues, I'll call it. When you're dealing with things like, I'll use the example of this morning, and I don't even know how all of that's gone down. So, but I do know that Facebook was having issues today. So as a leader on the team, did you freak out about it? Or did you go, oh, wow, we have this issue. Okay, we're going to be solution oriented. What are we going to do? How are we going to pivot? What are we going to do? When you have a situation with maybe something goes on back order or goes on stop sell, are you responding and being a thermometer with your team and going, oh my gosh, everybody's freaking out about this. The piece that, they wanted is on stop sell. Or are you setting the tone and saying, you know what? This is one of those situations. This happens. This became a very, very popular item. We know Park Lane's going to have more amazing items coming out within days, probably. And are you setting the tone for your team? Are you being reactive or are you being responsive? Does that make sense? Really, really important. Are you being a thermostat? To me, I will tell you, I would consider it in the top 3 most important things as a leader is being a thermostat over being a thermometer for all of the reasons that I just said. So when you're committing to being a great leader, are you being a thermostat or are you being a thermometer? My second question for you is, are you maximizing all of the programs that Park Lane has to offer? Are you maximizing everything? Are you maximizing the bonuses every month? Are you maximizing the fact that you have MCP and that you can take the car or you can take the cash? Are you maximizing the fact that you can earn 2 trips and you can cash out one if you want? Or are you just doing 1 trip? Are you maximizing the fact that you are getting paid 40 to 50% on your personal commissions? Are you leaving money on the table? Because that's really, really important. One of the things that kills me is when I look at people's reports and I see all these places where they're leaving money on the table. Scott, Art, and Mark will say to you all day, every day, take us for all that we're worth, okay? Take everything that Park Lane is giving you. There is so much at your fingertips. And so I really want to challenge each and every one of you. If you haven't done this recently, pull out your compensation plan, okay? Go into your compensation plan in the back office, pull it out, print it out, and write out in the margin, where are you leaving money on the table? And then start to focus on that and how you can start maximizing all of the areas that maybe you aren't maximizing right now. What could that money be doing? Okay. And it's not always about money. I know a lot of times we focus about the things that, we focus about the money and the things and all of that. But sometimes it might be, what would that money be doing in terms of philanthropy? What would that money be doing in terms of how you could be giving back in your community? What could that money be doing in terms of sharing and giving experiences to other people? What would that money that you're leaving on the table right now be when it comes to having an experience with your family or your team in St. Thomas or in Dublin? So I don't want you to leave money on the table because there's so much that you can do and you can create with that. Let me ask you a question real quick and throw in the chat for me real quick. Do you think that you are maximizing everything that Park Lane has to offer in terms of the programs, or do you think that maybe you're leaving a little bit of money on the table? I'm just curious. And you know what? This is a safe place. This is a safe place, okay? We're not going to share this with anybody else. I'm not going to tell Scott or anything. No. So not even close. Yeah, I think it's pretty true. So here's the thing is, again, you have to know where you're starting from. And this is part of the cool part of the leadership growth and the leadership journey is that when again, it's that when you know better, you can do better. All probably heard that Maya Angelou quote, and so once you know that, once you know where you're leaving money on the table, then you can start to set those goals and you can start to focus on that. Okay. Here are my final tips. I could talk to y'all all day long, but here are my final tips and a little bit of strategy for you to think about. So as you're thinking about these pillars, so we talked about the 5 pillars that you had. We talked about the first one is you have to have a commitment to your vision, okay? The second one is you have to have a commitment to your personal growth. The third one is you want to have a commitment to your personal business. The fourth is a commitment to your recruiting, to blessing others. And then, of course, the fifth one is your commitment to having your commitment to having, I lost my train of thought here for a second. Your commitment to being a good leader for your team and to being that thermostat, to setting the tone for your team, to setting the bar for your team as well. But here's what I want to tell you is number one, like I said, use your comp plan as your roadmap. It is your golden target. I visualize it this way is I always visualize as the center is going to be your personal business. And then it's going to be your recruiting. And then it's going to be your branches. And then it goes out there from there. Make sure that you're looking at your time and where you're spending your time. Go for the bullseye. Okay. And then you work out from there. The second thing is make sure again that you're using a planner. Okay. You want to make sure that you're using your planner and you're writing your goals in your planner. You probably all heard that John Maxwell quote, the key to your success is going to be making sure that your daily schedule is really in line with the goals that you want to have. Okay. It's super, super important. Okay. The secret to your success can be found in your daily schedule. Super important. And putting it in your planner will help you to align that. Have that business journal, though, for you to jot down ideas for yourself, for you to be able to look at your leadership vision, for you to be able to look at your leadership journey. It is super, super informative. And then the third thing is to really start acting as if. Act as if you are the leader that you want to become. Start learning the skills that you want to learn or that you need to learn to step into that role. If you want to be a company vice president in Park Lane Jewelry and you're an area leader right now, how does a company vice president act? What do they look like? What do they post? How do they respond? They're thermostats. They're not thermometers. I promise you that. So think about that. Start acting as if you are the person that you want to be, whatever that next level is for you. And then finally, I want you to really commit to your vision. And, I was sharing when I was talking with Ali and Christy, one of the things that I asked them is I was like, talk to me about some of the leaders. Tell me like what you guys have trained on before. Tell me what, things that you keep coming up or people are like, I need help with this. I need help with that. And one of the things that when I was talking to them is we talked about, where you spend your time, where you focus your time. So that's why I wanted you to think about this, the comp plan as your roadmap. But I will tell you, one of the things that I think is a big pitfall that a lot of leaders have too, is that when they commit to their vision, they're only committing to their short-term vision. They're not committing to their longer-term vision. And here's the deal in this business. Chrissy, how long have you been in the business?
16 years.
16 years. It doesn't happen overnight. Christy did not become who she is as a leader. Let's just take ranks or titles out of there. She didn't become who she is as the amazing leader that she is overnight. You have to look at it as a marathon, not as a sprint. And so when you're committing to your vision, one of the things that I always recommend to leaders is I want to invite you to think about not just on a monthly basis. I want you to think about 1 month, because that's important that we are looking at month to month, month over month. We want to have growth, 1 month over month each year. But also look at things in 90-day sprints, okay? And then I want you to look at 1 year and 3 years out, okay? No one is going to go from branch to executive company VP in 6 months, okay? That's not going to happen. But when you look at the long range plan, you can see the stepping stones and you can see what you need to do to build up with that. And you can reverse engineer what that looks like. So as you are committing to your vision, I want you to not only have some of these smaller goals, some of the smaller vision of, 1 month, 90 days, a year, but I really, really want to encourage you, invite you to think longer term as well. Okay. What I do know for sure is that Park Lane has the very best programs in the industry. I know that, and I can say that, I can say that without a doubt. I do know that our company, and I say this, our company has co-owners that are focused on your prosperity, focused on your growth, and are focused on the vision as well. Okay. And so what I want you to do is I want you to just jump in. I want you to dream a little bit bigger for yourself. And I want you to create a bigger vision for yourself and think about what does next level leadership look like for you in the next month, in the next 90 days, in the next 3 years, and the next 10 years. So I want to remind you really quickly of that quote that I used at the beginning, because I think it's so important. There's a difference between interest and commitment. When you're interested in something, you do it only when it's convenient. When you're committed to something, you accept no excuses, only results. So drop in the chat if you are committed to your next level leadership in 2024. Nice. I like it. I'm committed. I love it. I love it.
Jennifer, Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you go right ahead. I was going to pass it off to you.
I was just going to say thank you so much. It's so amazing, you guys. She has kept 29 of us captive this whole time. Nobody's jumped off. It's a testament to you, Jennifer. And these are just such simple yet so profound. Every single point that you made on commitment. How many of you guys heard something that how many of you heard something new that struck you as some, because I know we've got all different.
Yeah, I'd like to know. Tell me
me.
one thing. Tell me if there's something new that you heard, or what's a new thing that you heard before. Thermostat.
Mhm.
Good. Thermostat comp plan. Thermostat comp plan. Oh man, if y'all heard those two things, I'm super happy about that because it is, like I told you, those are two things that I would definitely say are the top three and like the things that I think every leader needs to know and needs to be reminded of sometimes too. Christy, the other thing is I think it's so important for everybody to remember too, when you are having, we all have those days that we, like I said, are playing whack-a-mole, or we are having those days where we're putting out fires, so to speak. And listen, that's not going to change. I'd like to tell you it's going to change. It's never going to change. Okay. That's the reality of the business. That's the reality of leadership. But if when you have those days like that, if you can stop yourself, I mean, even if you need to like write it on a note card or a Post-it note and stick it on your computer, just put thermostat versus thermometer and ask yourself the question when you have those days like that, am I being a thermostat right now or am I being a thermometer right now? You know, when I'm at the results that I'm having for my team this month, at the end of the month, did you look at it? If you didn't love your results, were you a thermostat that month before or were you a thermometer? It's really, really powerful.
You know, when you said that, I've heard that example before, and of course I've forgotten it. That's why it's so important to continue to invest yourself in training. But I also thought, and this will strike all of you, I thought to myself, how do I do that in my household? How do I do that with my kids? You know, am I the thermostat or am I the thermometer? And often I'm the thermometer. You know, and I admit that because it's the reality of being human, you guys. And so it can that tendency can also fall into, I probably am way more of a thermostat in my professional life than I am in my personal life. And so that struck me in that regard. It's like, okay, how can I actually shift that over into my family's life as well? And I think because that
Yeah.
just strikes you at such a heart center, you know, but
Mhm.
some of y'all may be the total opposite and be way better at that than me.
I think it's hard as parents. I think it's really, really hard as parents. But no, I agree with you. And that's what I was saying is, you know, here's the thing is, and y'all probably have all seen this in your personal development journey and the growth that you have, everything that you do spills over into the other areas. Everything that you learn and you do. That's the coolest thing. Again, nobody can take that away from you. So it's pretty cool. Does
That's
I know I want to be mindful of everybody's time. Does anybody have any questions? I am always open to any questions.
while you guys are maybe raising your hand, I'll also mention, I don't think I'm saying something I shouldn't say, but Jennifer is joining us at our Illuminate conference. So I'm going to make an Illuminate plug really quickly. If anybody is still on the fence of if you are, you know, able to attend, Jennifer will be here in person. And so you'll be able to get her autograph and hear her in real world. So I'm excited to have her as our guest. Any questions? Jennifer, thank you. Thank you
Of
so much.
course.
We will be sharing this recording, you guys. As you know, Allie and I texted out to you, so you'll be getting that. But so great. We appreciate you so much. You are so wise and so calm and just so easy to absorb information from. So you're a gift to Park Lane. They know that, but I just want you to know we feel the same. So thanks, Jennifer.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It was a joy to be with everybody here today. And I'm really looking forward to seeing a lot of these faces in Paris. It's going to be amazing. And more of you at the Illuminate Leadership Conference.
Well, thank you guys. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
At the Mega tonight. Mega, mega, mega. All right. Bye, y'all.